The father of journalist Alison Parker, who was killed with her colleague Adam Ward last week during a live TV broadcast from Roanoke, Virginia, now has a new mission in his life, which he will describe in this video.
My fear is that, this is going to be a big news story for a weekend, and then, it's on to the next one. But we cannot let this drop. I just want people to know that I'm going to be working on this for a long time. I know that this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, but I'm going to affect a change and hold the politicians' feet to the fire. I was listening to Bernie Sanders as we were in the lead up to this, and I liked what he said. I think he said regarding another matter, same old isn't going to work, and it applies to this issue. It's got to apply to sensible gun control legislation, controlling the loopholes in gun shows.
Obviously, this is, to that father, an incredibly relevant and timely issue, since he suffered the tragedy of watching his daughter be affected by the policies that we have in this country. And of course, the policy should change based on the objective fact that we need to become more like other countries that have a more reasonable system of gun control and have better outcomes in terms of the number of people killed through gun violence. It's the intellectual arguments that should win the day. But for some people, if seeing the very real, genuine response and sort of life experience of people who've been affected by gun violence, if that helps them to accept the intellectual arguments, then I think that people like Andy Parker can do a lot of good. Every
time there's a highly publicized shooting, the partisan politics begins to play a role, right? Mm-hmm. So you'll have the pro-gun advocates who will say, no, don't use this very, very public, terrible, tragic event as a way of pushing for gun reform. And then you'll have people who are in favor of some form of gun control coming out and saying, look, we should use this as a lesson, and we should use this as a way to strengthen any type of gun control policy that we are even considering, right? Yeah. And so the people who are in favor of gun control always get criticized for politicizing a tragic event. So what is this man doing right now? Is he politicizing a tragic event? No, he's speaking common sense about a serious problem that we deal with every single day in this country, right? Yeah. Now, this shooting was horrible, but this isn't the only shooting that happened. This didn't happen in a vacuum. This isn't an isolated incident. There was a recent study that was written about in Newsweek, where they talked about how there is a mass shooting in America every day. We just don't hear about it. Mm-hmm. And by the FBI standards, a mass shooting constitutes 4 people being killed or gunned down, right? Every day that happens in America. We don't hear about every single case, right? Wow. But for some reason, we refuse to learn any lessons. Newtown happened, doesn't matter, nothing changed. All these theater shootings happened, nothing changes. These 2 reporters get shot on camera, live on air. Nothing happens, right? Yeah. Let's start having a real conversation. Look, there are some people who might want to ban guns. Those are obviously people that are on one extreme. But there are reasonable people, I think like us, who want reasonable gun control. And you can't allow the most powerful lobby or the second most powerful lobby in the country make decisions for all of us as they have been doing. It's disgusting. We need to actually stand up, support this man, and not allow innocent people to get gunned down like this. Yeah. And we know, like you said, they always say that the gun control advocates are the ones who are trying to politicize it. But how long after Sandy did it take? Yes, after Sandy Hook, did it take for the NRA spokesman to come out and say, well, this is clear proof that we need more guns in schools? It's ridiculous. And also, when are we supposed to talk about these issues? Do we talk about it randomly, sporadically? I mean, you talk about it when it becomes a problem. Mm-hmm. Our lack of gun control is a problem, and we have clear instances of it becoming a problem, being a problem, innocent people dying, and we're not allowed to talk about it? Really? I'm so tired of the media hijacking these conversations. I'm tired of politicians who have a very clear agenda hijacking these conversations. These conversations should be had as soon as innocent people die as a result of our lax gun laws. It's that simple. And anyone who thinks that it's politicizing it, you need to shut the fuck up and go mind your own goddamn business, because obviously that's the perfect time to have that kind of discussion.
I'm glad they didn't politicize 9/11.
Yeah, seriously. I mean,
we didn't go into Afghanistan for months afterwards. So they really waited a long time.
They held off on Iraq too.
They certainly did.
And they didn't pass, a sweeping, draconian set of laws having to do with privacy.
Turn it into a surveillance state.
They didn't do anything.
No,
not
right?
Instantly.
They
right
didn't
after.
shred the Constitution because of it immediately.
No, ripped a bit.
A
Maybe. They didn't shred it. Come on.
You know what they did do? They waited, I don't know, a year to appoint a 9/11 commission to investigate what happened. I think they did do that.
Yeah.
We already started a couple wars before we decided to figure out what the fuck happened.
Yeah, and the whole discussion about possible health benefits for the first responders who were affected by going in and trying to get people out of the wreckage from 9/11. They didn't want to talk about that for years and years and years. They didn't want to politicize it.
Don't want to politicize that. So it only goes to show that we really live in exactly what we keep saying every day here in a country that's run by a handful of rich people.
Yeah.
That politicians, if anything, this Sandy Hook proved that because 90% of the people polled said they wanted some kind of reaction, some kind of gun legislation in response to that, right? And we didn't get any, which just goes to show you that it's the donors.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Well, the voters are going to vote you. They don't care about the voters. They only care about the donors.
Yeah.
And that's why Bernie Sanders is important, because he's not taking that kind of money. And that's why wolf-pac.com is important. It's the only way. Every issue hinges on getting money out of politics.
Yeah. So there's another angle that I want to talk about on this, and it has to do with the way that you just saw Adam Parker in that. We're going to have some more video for you in just a second, how he's being treated by different outlets. And I think it's interesting that, if you happen to get shot in this country by an illegal immigrant, Fox is going to not stop talking about you. And by the way, talk about politicizing a tragedy. They want to build a fucking wall on the border because somebody was shot by an illegal immigrant. Obviously a tragedy, perhaps not necessary that we build a wall on the border between U.S. and Mexico.